Yesterday I predicted the 1 o'clock games. Today I'm previewing the late games. Starting with the 4 o'clock slate, we have the Bengals at the Jaguars, and AJ Green dominated last week. The lawfirm was all over the field, and that was against a better team than the Jaguars. I expect the Eagles to easily put another notch in the win column. Then you have the Dolphins at the Cardinals. The Dolphins have actually played some pretty decent football all season, but to this point the Cardinals have looked amazing. They've managed to stay undefeated despite facing teams like the Patriots and Packers, who many people were picking as Super Bowl favorites. So chalk up one more win to the Cardinals as they continue their surprising undefeated start. Then you have the Raiders at the Broncos, and the Raiders shocked the world with their win over the Steelers. However, I saw it coming. I don't think that's happening this time, though. I think the Broncos O-line should be able to do enough to handle the pass rush, and Peyton Manning will eat that secondary alive. And the Broncos corners should more than be able to handle the Raiders' passing attack. I think the X factor here is DMC. I don't know if the Broncos defense can handle him, but I'm pretty sure that even if he does get going, it won't be enough to get them to a win. Not with Peyton playing like he did against the Texans. Now, if he plays like he did against the Falcons, we might be in some trouble. But I think he's gonna play much better than that against a very weak Raiders secondary. Then you have the Redskins at the Bucks, which is one of the hardest games to pick because RG3 has been sensational all year. However, he's been facing subpar teams. The Bucks. They have a roster full of talent. It has not equated to a good record. No, even though both of these teams have been losing games, they've barely been losing them. They've been in the contest. They're both facing injuries. Pierre Garçon, as far as I know, he's gonna be out for the Redskins. The Bucks, they're missing Gerald McCoy. I think I want to give it to the Redskins, who just signed Ryan Grant, so expect Shanahanigans to kick in at any moment. For fantasy owners, I'm sorry, situation's getting scarier. I think the Redskins have a certain dedication to the run, which Mike Shanahan, if this guy's not doing his job, he has absolutely no problem pulling him and throwing in this other guy. And even if this guy's doing a great job, he has no problem pulling him and throwing in this other guy because he can do better. And RG3, he is a sensational player who, even without his top target, can still spread the ball around. He has no problem going through his progressions. I had to give this to the Redskins because the Bucks have just been horrible. Honestly, I think they've played well against some pretty decent teams, but I think the Redskins are another decent team who've also been playing against some somewhat decent teams, at least. I'm moving on. Saints at Packers, this is probably the disappointment game of the season, because a month ago I thought this would be the game of the year. I expected it to be a fight between two undefeateds, but these clubs currently combine for one win on the season. And these are two explosive offenses with seemingly unlimited potential. I have to give the advantage to the Packers because they have a much better defense. And moving on to Sunday night, you have the Giants at the Eagles, and the Eagles have done a terrible job protecting the ball this year. And the Giants, they lost opening night, but they seem to get better with every game they play, despite all the injuries that they're fighting through. I picked the Eagles to win the division, but the way both of these teams have been playing right now, it's hard to go against the Giants. However, when division rivals meet, you can throw all the rules out the window. So, who's going to win this one? Honestly, I'm going with the Eagles more just because I want them to win, and I think they pretty much have to win. They have not faced a division rival this year yet, and they started 2-0, lost a very close game to the still undefeated Cardinals, And I think turnovers are an issue, and if they don't get some of this stuff rectified, even though they'll still be at 500, you kind of got to start panicking if you're an Eagles fan, because you can't keep they lead the league in turnovers, and you can't keep doing that and hope to get to the Super Bowl. I think this has to be the game where the Eagles step up and be the Eagles. Otherwise, their season is going to end up in jeopardy somewhere down the line. And then you have the Monday night game, which I have been dreading this. I have changed my decision every single day, every single hour, on the hour. It's just, I make no attempt to hide the fact that I am a Cowboys fan. And it's hard to say who I think will win without this sounding biased. So I will detail the facts behind my decision. Chicago has won games only against weaker opponents like the Rams and the Bills. They got trounced by the Packers, whose only win this season was against them. But then again, and you had the Cowboys, who handed the Giants their only loss of the season, and they beat Tampa, who only lost to the Giants and Cowboys, two teams that look like they're headed towards the playoffs. Now, but the Bears have a great advantage against Dallas, because Dallas has a tremendously weak O-line, and it'll be hard for them to establish a consistent ground game. And however, the passing attack has developed very well in Dallas, whereas the Bears, their entire offense has struggled with consistency. But then again, Matt Forte might be coming back this week, and even if he doesn't, Matt Bush is a battering ram who can carry the load for the team. However, the Bears, they do have that weak O-line as well, going up against guys like DeMarcus Ware and Anthony Spencer, who's a very underrated guy. He doesn't put up the numbers, but he is a high-impact player. And now you've got a guy like Sean Lee, who has developed very well into a leader. But then again, they have these defenses. Tillman is one of the greater corners in the game, and yet you got Brandon Carr adding to Dallas. The Bears secondary is scary. I don't think they'll do as much against Dallas as Dallas can do against the Bears offense. And they went up against Vincent Jackson last week, and they held him completely catchless. However, I do feel the need to point out that the Dallas secondary is now without Barry Church for the year, starting safety. And I still don't know if Sensabaugh is going to be returning this week. I think he is. I'm not sure. It's hard to pick any one team here. But I think I decided that for this one, given the fact that it's on Monday night in Cowboy Stadium, I have to give the advantage to the Cowboys, just because they are playing in Jerry World under the lights. They're going to feel the need to step up and make a statement. Now, both of these teams are in very tough divisions, and they both need this win to keep contention. I think the Cowboys just needed a little bit more, though. And so I got to give it to them.